PMac back with another PMacMovies reviews video, brief reviews video. Gonna talk about some movies that I've been watching. I feel like, again, I might have already talked about some of these, but continuing on from yesterday, got through, I think, more than half the stack in the half hour yesterday, and then we will finish up the stack today here on PMacMovies. So as usual, let's kick back, let's relax, grab a nice cup of tea or coffee or whatever you like to enjoy. I am going to get this coffee maker started. There we go. Alright, so the organic Guatemalan coffee is brewing, and then we'll do the taste test as usual. There will be no haul video this weekend because I don't really have much. I do have some things on the way, so I'll be doing, I would think, at least one haul video coming up this week, maybe even during the week. And then I have some Arrow stuff that should be trickling in here at some point, so maybe there will be an Arrow haul video here this next weekend, but I probably won't have all the Arrow stuff that I ordered, so we'll see. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? So in this reviews video, we got some sci-fi, including some more modern sci-fi, more of a, I think, like a 90s one. We got a TV show, we got some Charles Bronson, and then we got, again, mostly older movies, but one newer movie. Let's take a look at what old PMac has watched recently. I've also been watching some stuff through streaming, the new Mighty Ducks show, the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. Mighty Ducks, it's kind of building. It's nothing great. It's building up though. Falcon and Winter Soldier, pretty good. Pretty good, as Larry David would say. Pretty good. What else have I been watching? Some random, like, detective shows like Columbo, which is always a nice, light, fun one. Magnum P.I. with Tom Selleck, I've been watching some of that. So not always movies. Actually, during the week, I don't really watch many movies at all. It's usually just TV shows. But anywho, let's take a look at this first one. We have Lawrence Fishburne and Brenton Thwaites in The Signal. A mind-bending experience, says Joey Power from GeekyTyrant.com. Who goes to that website? Is that a real website? Directed by William Eubank, who I didn't realize this, but he also directed after, was it after? Or maybe during. While I was watching this, I looked into the movie, and I believe he directed that underwater movie with Kristen Stewart, which I really liked. And this movie, it looks like it's from, let's see, it's an hour and 38 minutes. It's a Focus Features one. You might be able to, I know the DVD of this has been at Dollar Trees before. I got this at Hamilton Book. Blu-ray DVD combo pack. Nice. I don't know if the Blu-ray's ever been super cheap at one of those stores. Maybe. Some people might have found it. I would say overall it's worth a watch. It's pretty average. And it might even be worth a rewatch, but I'm not sure about that. It is one of these, like, kind of sci-fi, mind-bender movies. But I kind of could see the twist coming to a decent degree. And then there's, like, kind of a bigger twist at the end, too. But so there's a few little surprises. I think it's worth a watch. Actually, I had watched this, like, back when I got it, I watched it. But sometimes when I'm watching these movies, I'm really tired and I fell asleep. And then yesterday, I watched it again. And I did remember some of it, but not a whole lot. I had missed a lot of it there when I fell asleep last time. But really not... To me, not really worth watching again, although a pretty fun movie. And I do, that Brenton Thwaites is pretty decent. He's been in a few things. I think he's from The Giver, and I believe he is in that DC show, The Titans one. It's called just Titans. The coffee, did you hear the beeping? That's the coffee. It's ready.
Why is this guy wasting my time by talking about coffee?
Drinking coffee. Alright, we got a cup of coffee here. Alright. We got some maple syrup. Local maple syrup. I put it in this container. This is like a Vitacost maple syrup, but it's actually the syrup in here is local. Let's see how we do here. Probably a little bit warm right now. And if I knock this coffee over, it's going to go into all my movies, and I got some boutiques and everything out here, so we don't want any syrup getting all over these movies. Okay. Up next, this is one that probably most of you have seen already. Something of a, I don't know if you know, it's a more kind of modern classic. Event Horizon, directed by Paul Anderson, from 1997, 95 minutes. Got pretty crappy reviews, but it's kind of, I don't know if you would consider it a cult movie or what, but really, I feel like it's a lot better than its reviews would indicate. Starring Lawrence Fishburne, again with Lawrence. He's in a lot of these sci-fi movies. He's in a indie film, I believe, called The Matrix. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. There's somebody named Keanu Reeves in that one. But anyway, Sam Neill is also in this, who's in a fair amount of big movies. Kathleen Quinlan. Jolie Richardson, looking very attractive in this movie. It's a lot better than the reviews give it credit for, and it's you know, I think really it's a pretty highly regarded movie. It's a pretty good sci-fi movie. They had so many of these good, mind-blowing, mind-bending sci-fi movies in the late 90s. Oh man, that's a little piece of heaven right there. Oh. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's perfect. Another movie where I talked about yesterday with the science and stuff. Sam Neill is another character who's... See, they put out... They push all this, like, scientism and the belief in science. People love... You're an idiot if you don't believe in science. But then in movie, they give you a lot of truth in movies. There's more truth in movies than there is on the news. However, you have to be able to just pick up on it. So a lot of times they'll put these idiot scientific character, like Sam Neill's character, he's all, you know, science. Oh, this couldn't happen. You're crazy. That couldn't be. You're crazy. Sam Neill's character is a complete idiot. He's a science fool. And they show it in this movie, in the movie I talked about yesterday, classic movie I talked about yesterday, Burn, Witch Burn, I think it's called. And in all sorts of other movies. It's something that I'll identify more now, is you can just see the buildup of it, that the science is pushed in the education system. You're better than other people. If you trust and believe in science, you are better than those science deniers. But in movies, they show you these science people are, they have no imagination. They have no connection to spirituality. Trust them if you want to, but it's not going to get you anywhere. I got my supplements. That's good coffee. Let's get through the rest of this stuff. I don't know that I'm going to talk too much about these. Back with Event Horizon, though, I didn't really say much about it. Is this something that happens in our reality, where each person on this ship is getting, like, their nightmares are, like, intertwining with their reality? The ship is showing them fears from their mind. So the ship has some sort of connection to their mind. Maybe that's what we deal with here on Earth, and maybe our reality is shaping to show us some of our fears, and then we're having to deal with those fears. There's some interesting stuff in that movie, because life's a struggle. So why a lot of people are struggling right now. Does it have something to do with that, where your mind, or maybe if your mind's in a certain state, the reality will almost like show you what you're fearing. So, it could just be about perceptions and things like that too, but there's always fun things to think about in these movies. I do want to talk about Banshee, which this is season 3. There's 4 seasons. I am on season 4. I get a little bit, it really changed a lot from the end of season 3, and then season 4, it really, they changed up a lot of stuff, and I'm having trouble getting into it, but the first 3 seasons are really good, really intense, really fast-paced. Does have a lot of violence, a lot of sex, which it doesn't really need as much as it has. But it's a really entertaining show. If you haven't checked it out, I encourage you to watch maybe, the first couple episodes, and you know what you're in for pretty much. So check that out if that sounds appealing to you. Black Windmill, starring Michael Caine. This is a Kino release. And I've tried to watch some Michael Caine, 70s movies. And it's like, I just couldn't really connect to the characters. It seems like it just starts off and throws you right into the movie, and it doesn't really give you a whole lot of connection to the characters. This one, I thought was pretty good, actually, and it was one of the ones that got weaker reviews. So, if you're turned off by this movie because of weaker reviews, I would recommend it. And it's not something that's real unique that's going to blow you away. He has his kid kidnapped. And he's some sort of secret British secret agent. It is directed by Don Siegel, who directed Dirty Harry, Charlie Varick, and Madigan. I would say I like this more than Charlie Varick, which is considered a better movie. This is from 1974, 106 minutes. I would highly recommend it if you can get it for $10 or less. It is an entertaining thriller starring Michael Caine. Okay, there's not a whole lot of details to go into. We got a little Jimmy Stewart in the Far Country from Arrow Academy, I think. Yeah, Arrow Academy. This is a nice classic Western starring Jimmy Stewart. Now, this guy here, you got so many of these Western movies where you got, these people who just, these kind of political people, or just kind of, but they represent, he represents the government. He actually is, I think, part of the government in this, in the town he's in. But they'll just, screw everybody over and help themselves. And it's not, the movie's metaphorically using one or, his gang of characters in the movie. Mostly him. He's the mastermind behind it. But the whole system is set up for this sort of thing. Our system is like this guy, the government in our system is represented by this character in the movie. It's so you broke a law, well, I am going to fine you whatever I want. So he just takes all James Stewart's cattle, I think it is. Oh, that's your whole livelihood? Well, for breaking this rule, they're mine now. See ya! Good luck! I think he got out of the death penalty somehow, Jimmy Stewart, and it's the penalty for that is death. But I forget what the agreement was. If it had something to do, I can't remember. But it's just like how the big G is here. It's you broke that law. We'll give you this shitty option or this shitty option. Which one you gonna choose? The little less shitty one. Anywho, we got Devil in a Blue Dress, which is a Denzel Washington movie from the mid-90s, 95, 101 minutes. And it says a moody neo-noir adaptation of Walter Mosley's acclaimed novel. Denzel Washington is basically trying to figure out, he was hired in the beginning of the movie to do a little job, try to find some woman, and then he ends up, not knowing who to trust, and it's basically a detective movie. He's not like a professional detective, so he's just like kind of going around trying to figure out what the heck's going on, who he can trust, who's up to no good. And I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't like one of my favorite detective movies. I think it's set in post World War II Los Angeles. And in the beginning of the movie, you find out that he was laid off, and then he's turned private investigator. But he's not. I mean, he's not really. This is like his first case. So I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was anything great. I'd probably give it like a 3.5 out of 5, something like that. Far Country, same 3.5. I did enjoy that. Black Windmill, I'd probably give that one a 4. Event Horizon, I would say a 3.5. And The Signal, I would probably go with a 3 for The Signal. One that I really like, though, we have Rider on the Rain, another Kino, starring Charles Bronson. The interesting thing about this movie is you can either watch the, what was it? I believe it was the all-French version or the all-English version. So you kind of have to pick whether you want to hear the actual French characters' real voices or Charles Bronson's real voice. I don't remember if he actually spoke in French in this, now that I think about it. But it is directed by René Clément, who did Forbidden Games, Purple Noon, The Deadly Trap. The only one I've seen out of those is The Purple Noon. So the woman in this, what's her name? Marlene Jobert, this woman here, she is the mother of Eva Green. And you can see the similarities. Quite attractive lady there. This is from 1970. It is 114 minutes or 118, depending on which version you watch. This is kind of like a mystery thriller type of thing. Charles Bronson's character he's not like really the woman here is more the main character, and Charles Bronson's characters starts being in it a little bit into the movie, and you don't know who he is. Like, you don't know what's going on with him. He's kind of like a mysterious figure, and then you learn more and more as the movie goes, and there is some plot twists and turns. And this is a really solid movie. I would give it a 4 out of 5. I was pleasantly surprised by it. I thought it would be solid, but I thought it was a pretty unique movie. Like, I didn't feel like I'd ever seen anything like this before. And I thought everything was really well done. The acting, the plot twists and turns, and I enjoyed that one quite a bit. One that I didn't enjoy very much, we have another Michael Caine. This one starring also Christopher Reeve. The movie isn't bad. It's pretty much like almost all the movie is. It's in like one house and mostly in one room. So there's like, the characters' motives, and there's some murders, and you don't know what their real motives necessarily are. It's based on a play, so that's why it's set in just like one area. But it's not. It was a movie that watching it once was okay, but I don't really need to own this type of movie, so I'll look to sell this one. 116 minutes from 1982. Didn't really care much for it. Another solid Charles Bronson movie. Did I talk about this one already? I feel like maybe I did. Charles Bronson in Breakheart Pass. And I would compare this movie. There's some similarities. It's not the same type of movie. But there are some similarities between these two. Because with this movie also, Charles Bronson's character is a mystery. You don't know in the beginning of the movie. You don't really learn who he is until maybe in the middle of the movie somewhere. You don't really learn his true identity. So it was similar in that way. This one is from 1975, 95 minutes, starring Richard Crenna, Jill Ireland, Charles Durning. So, you know, this is more of a Western, and most of the movie's set on a train. And again, like, there's a bunch of characters on this train, and you don't know who to trust, who's a bad guy, who's in on it. And it was pretty good. I would say it's not as good as Rider on the Rain. I would give this one a 3.5. I would recommend getting. I think this might have went out of print though during the last Kino sale. There is, you know, you can get it from the UK also, but stuff's expensive from the UK now. But if you're a Charles Bronson fan, you got to get all these, baby. Then we have a movie, another Western called The Salvation, starring Mads Mikkelsen, who I really like. He's a really good actor, from 2014, 92 minutes. So Mads Mikkelsen's character is coming over from, let's see, he's Danish, it says. So he's coming over from Europe, and some of his family, and some bad stuff happens, and basically he's out for revenge and things like that. So this is a very, like, depressing movie. It's not very uplifting. It is fairly entertaining, and it does have Eva Green in it, which is, you know, Eva Green, one of the best actresses out there, and the daughter, like I said earlier, of this woman here. I didn't mean to whip the bird at you. Marlene Jobert. Eva Green is her daughter. But a pretty good one. It was entertaining. It was, you know, worth watching, but it was, you know, a ton of violence, of course. This is an IFC Films movie, and $5 from Hamilton Book. You know, it's good if you like that sort of stuff, but no, going into it, it's not gonna make you feel too upbeat. It's just a lot of killing, a lot of violence. Up next, we have a movie called The Possessor. So this is one that's a more recent one, directed by Brandon Cronenberg, who is David Cronenberg. Is it David? I can't remember. But I'm actually a Cronenberg fan. It's just I'm not thinking right now. This is from 2019. It's interesting too how some of these directors like Cronenberg and John Carpenter, Dario Argento, these guys that just made fantastic, entertaining movies back in the day. It's like they just forgot how to make good movies. Like some of these bands and musicians, just why don't they have any hits anymore? Why don't they have good music anymore? It's weird. Something's up with it. Something's up. But now Brandon Cronenberg comes out and makes a movie something like his father would have made back in the 80s. This is an entertaining movie. This is a intelligent movie. It's a unique, I would say, to a big degree movie. In this version, I know there's an uncut version, and this is just the rated R version. I don't know a ton about what the differences are. It's, you know, there's some images of male genitalia, which, you know, some people just need to see it. I don't know what else, though. I don't know. You know, when you can choose between the uncut and the cut, you know, of course you would choose the uncut, but I don't know that there's anything in it that's too exciting, maybe for some people. 103 minutes. Nobody in this that I really knew, other than, I think, is that Sean Bean? Sean Bean was in this, I believe. He's in everything, isn't he? He's in, like, every movie. Jennifer Jason Leigh was in this, too. The other people I didn't really know. I thought the acting was pretty good, though. So it's basically about this, which is actually a really interesting idea. Again, we got a movie where it puts some ideas out there, and it's like, well, where did these ideas come from? Is something like this really out there? And we have to realize, too, we don't know everything. Like, just in your little world, do you know everything that could possibly be out there? So basically, this this corporation has this technology where they can use this technology to go into somebody else's body, and the main character in this movie is a elite corporate assassin, Tasya Vaz. So they put this thing like over her head. She goes into this other person, and then in that other person's body, they murder somebody that helps their corporations, cause the corporation that she works for, which is an interesting idea. You know, people, you know, who knows if this, I mean, the technology isn't exactly what they're showing in this, of course, but who knows what the people running the show are capable of. You don't really know. So it's got some interesting ideas in it, and it's an entertaining movie too, because, you know, some movies have a really good, interesting premise, but they don't put it together in the movie. It's really not entertaining. But this is a good mix of interesting premise, captivating movie, twists, turns, thrills. I really enjoyed this one. I would have to say, again, I would give this a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a really solid movie. And I highly recommend that you check it out. I thought there'd be a lot more graphic stuff in this movie, which there wasn't, which is, you know, has to do with it being the rated R version rather than uncut. So, you know, maybe I was better off watching the rated R version, actually. Then we have a movie called Wolfen, which got good reviews. I didn't really necessarily realize how solid it would be, though. I thought this was a really solid, fun movie. It gets into some like Native American lore and things like that with these wolves living in the city. But are they actually wolves or some sort of like spiritual entity, and how they feed off of certain groups in the city? This is quite rewatchable too. I did fall asleep a little bit in this because I was watching it like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I hadn't like slept super well. But it was a really, really good one, and one that I will watch again to make sure I see everything. Starring Albert Finney, and Edward James Olmos, I believe, is one of the Native Americans in this. Gregory Hines is Finney's partner. And, you know, for around 10, 11, 12 bucks, Wolfen, definitely snag this up on Blu-ray. It's a good mix of, like, horror, mystery, some, like, occult type stuff. I thought it was a really, really good one. I was kind of surprised how good it was. And I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5 also. The coffee's really delicious. And then I got El Dorado, which I watched on the same day as Wolfen, and I kept like falling asleep a little bit and then watching. I thought this one, though, was I'm not a huge John Wayne fan. I like Robert Mitchum more, and John Wayne is definitely the main character in this movie. I enjoyed the movie, but it was you know, it was kind of boring. Like, it wasn't too exciting. These kind of classic movies, they can be a little bit that way, but I just don't get into John Wayne's character a whole lot, his persona. So this is, you know, like I said, it was somewhat entertaining, but nothing great for me. Basically, it has to do with John Wayne and Robert Mitchum's characters. First of all, there's a girl that they both like, so that's one part of it. And then he does meet, what's his face, James Caan, kind of a youngster that John Wayne's character takes under his wing a little bit. And then Robert Mitchum is the sheriff of the town, El Dorado. And there's a group that's going to come in and try to, what do they do? Try to take over the town or something. But Robert Mitchum's character becomes an alcoholic. And so the Duke has to come back and help him out. I forget now what the bad guys were coming to that town to do. It's been a few weeks since I watched this, but you know how these Western movies are. They got to hold them off. They got to take them down. But it was a fairly fun one. I would only give it like a 3 out of 5. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. I enjoyed the James Stewart movie more. The James Stewart movie called The Far Country. I enjoyed that more. But you know, none of these movies that I talked about today, none of them were terrible. None of them were terrible. Like The Signal. The Signal's a solid movie. To me, it just wasn't... It wasn't super entertaining. It has some ideas, too, you know, within The Signal. Are they like aliens, or are they some type of AI in that movie? Like, if you watch it, it shows you that it's like aliens, but is it really? Or is it some sort of, you know, artificial intelligence sort of thing? That would be an interesting discussion. I guess I don't want to go too much into it because it would spoil the movie. Event Horizon, like I said, you guys have seen a really good, really solid movie. Really, really interesting ideas in that movie. The execution's it's not horrible. It's pretty decent. It could be better. Paul Anderson isn't, that's the Paul W., I think he goes by W.S. Anderson. Not necessarily the greatest director, but he directs, you know, fairly entertaining movies with the Resident Evils and things like that. You know, Death Trap. Death Trap is not a bad movie. I didn't like it that much. Just because of the type of movie it is. But my biggest picks out of this, Wolfen, it's maybe even a 4.5 out of 5. I need to watch it all the way through when I'm totally there. It's a really good one, though. It's got some really cool ideas. Possessor was a fantastic modern movie. Really good. And it's like it's basically, it has a lot of the feel of an old, like an 80s David Cronenberg movie. And he made some really good movies back then. Scanners, The Brood, Videodrome. You know, it fits into those, even though it's his son who, you know, allegedly directed it. Salvation, really good movie. It's just depressing. And murder. Good movie, though. It's not going to pick you up on a bad day, though. Don't watch it if you're depressed. So, anywho, thanks for watching PMacMovies. If you enjoy these reviews videos, I guess I would encourage you to leave a comment in order to encourage me to continue making the reviews videos, because really, you know, these don't get as much views and comments as the haul videos. So I would appreciate it, and you know, I might not get back to you that day if you leave a comment, but I do try to go back and go through everybody's comments, you know, during the week or the week after, or whatever, when I get to it. So you know, I do appreciate the people who leave comments and help out the channel, and it's really nice to have made some pretty close friends, quite close friends, from creating the channel. And, you know, sharing some of my viewpoints and everything has kind of stunted the growth of the channel, but at the same time, we have the people here that need to be here, and the people who we don't need here have dispersed. So that's kind of the way life is, you know. When you show your true personality, there's going to be people who like it, people who don't like it, people who agree with you, people who don't agree. When you show a persona, you can get a lot of people to like you or whatever, but they don't really like you. They like your persona. So I think that's all I want to say. So again, check out the description section for ways that you can help out the channel, and we will see you next time on PMacMovies.